Take one.
My name is Steve Grody. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley in Sherman Oaks, and I ended up in the Downtown Arts District in 1986. I moved to a building on Colyton Street, just south of 4th. I was not trying to live there illegally. So it was a 3-story building built in 1913. The person I was subleasing from, who had the second and third floors, had told the building owner that he was going to rent it out for commercial photographic purposes. And then he proceeded to rent it out as though it was artist in residence space, or in the process of being artist in residence space. So I ended up being there for 27 years illegally, with the good graces of the building owner, who kicked many people out, but when he realized that I was not going to be a problem tenant, and I put in required fire sprinklers, and I wasn't going to get him in trouble, and I wasn't running a drug lab, he was fine, and I will always be grateful to Bill, whose last name shall not be mentioned. I actually became aware of the American and Al's Bar because I read a Help Wanted ad in the back of the LA Weekly saying that they were looking for bartenders. Well, I had gone to this fine bartender school and was looking for a gig. The woman that I was involved with at the time was from New York, and so she just thought, wow, this place is so relatively CBGB's. I didn't ever end up being behind the bar, but I helped get things set up, the equipment, and did the beer runs and did that. Bloom's was wonderful. I'm surprised there hasn't been a contest yet where people can say, what? Like Joel Bloom, when you'd walk into the store. He'd say, what? What do you want? But he was a good guy and a real booster of the area, being an arts district rather than the nouveau hipster district, which is what it has become. Back then, some people might have been subject to different kinds of crime and burglary and whatnot, and now it's more likely that somebody's going to spill their latte on you, or you're going to get hit by a fashion stroller with a baby in it. My street was really a shooting alley. It was drugs and sex on my street, and that was not great for people coming to you as a business and they see this stuff going on. But I'm not sure that I like that less than seeing happy, fit joggers doing their morning CrossFit run up and down the street. The homeless thing and how everybody dealt with the homeless, it was kind of like an issue. Giving change to somebody somewhere is fine, but if it's near where you live, they're going to be there tomorrow morning saying, well, why not today? Well, why not a little bit more? And so you just kind of have to nip that whole thing in the bud. I had seen graffiti around Los Angeles starting in the mid-'80s. For the same reason that artists moved downtown originally, that's the same reason why a lot of graffiti artists came down there. They weren't here because they loved all the artists, but because the artists let them do their thing. The first piece I ever shot just was a big L.A. by skate. There's legal walls where they have permission, illegal walls where they get arrested, and quasi-legal, which is to say nobody gave them permission, but nobody cares. There are a number of major yards all around the Arts District that were regular sites of really good work. 7th and Santa Fe, the whole LA River. It was very intense because it seemed like people had quasi-permission. In other words, they didn't have a signed paper necessarily from building owner, but they weren't getting busted. And so it seemed to be fine. The parking lot of Al's Bar was very active. People tended to bring their A game. The book is Graffiti L.A, Street Styles and Art, and if people aren't sure what that rat character by Slick K2S is doing, he's giving the L.A. sign. No, he's not flipping anybody off. It's the L.A. sign. And it is about the history of graffiti across the broad area of Los Angeles. Anybody that's involved in a specialized scene are going to be very critical of anybody else talking about that scene, representing that scene. I've developed some good friendships, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback, a lot of love for the book, because they felt I was even-handed and that I had a lot of different voices from different areas of the city and different writers of different crews giving their opinions on things. So I feel very proud of that. They told me when it was first coming out, well, if we don't sell all the books in the first year, we'll probably just have to take it out of circulation and pulp it. But the first press run was sold out in less than a month. And it's still in print, in libraries around the world as well. I tried to write it so that LA writers would feel represented, and that graffiti writers around the world would feel that they were represented, but also that it would translate to people outside of the world of graffiti. It is, I was told, the most stolen book from the Echo Park Library. I'm very honored. Things don't look good. They should, at this point, be putting quotation marks around Arts District signs. All artists are being priced out. There's no new artists that can come in here. There are these little token gestures towards the arts community. Art Share is a building that is still trying to hold it down for the community, as an art center for performance and music and visual arts. So Art Share is not being gentrified. We're staying as a foundation there. But the amount of development, unrestricted, any talk of balancing an active arts district with development is an embarrassing question at this point, because that horse has left the barn.
Okay.